So hello everyone, this is Talkaoke, this is a pop-up talk show. So if you're walking around thinking, I would like to have a chat, this is the perfect place to do it. And even you, man with a bicycle, did you know that big whales eat up bicycles because they think it's food? Have you ever tried a bicycle? Is it nice? Come and tell us, what are you thinking? We're talking about pollution, we're talking about plastic. Should we be looking after our water, or should we just not care? Apparently mermaids are dying, so has anybody seen a mermaid? And all those different points. Guys, have you ever seen a merman, is the question. No. Where would you go to find one though? I can't see you, Greece? No. Come and join us. Come and tell us. You seem like you know something about mermen that we should be. Yeah. Oh, you look. Did you used to be a merman? Okay. Where do we find merman and mermaid?
We could find them if you go all around the world to the beaches which have big rocks, and if you hear someone singing, it's probably going to be a mermaid sitting on a rock.
Could it be a mermaid, or could it be just a human being singing? I mean, are we just over humankind? That's why we are so good at polluting and killing ourselves. Maybe it's the era of mermen and mermaids. Oh, very nice bicycle. Do you know it also is food for some animals in water? They probably don't enjoy it, but Mikey?
I just want to go on the mermaid swimwear thing because I think it's a really good way. I think it's something that we could develop, and we can make a lot of money out of it, basically.
Okay, so
and it would have to be kind of ecologically. Do you want me to take that for you?
Yeah,
ecologically sound.
Okay, so that's quite a controversial thing. Can we capitalize on mermaids? Are mermaids just to be capitalized on? Can we use them for promotion, social media, maybe inspiration? Guys, what are your views on mermaids? Have you ever seen one? Never. Where would you go to find one? That's the question we're trying to answer. Where are the mermaids? Where are all the mermaids? So, is it okay to make money on mermaids? Yeah? Disney did it?
Disney did it with Ariel in The Little Mermaid.
Yeah?
There's also a few films where there's mermaids, so maybe they just found them and used them in films, and we just really didn't know there was a real mermaid.
Okay.
They used a fake tail.
So
They used a fake mermaid tail.
Is it fake? So are you proposing that mermaids are not real? Is that what's happening?
They are real, but there is this kind of it's made out of fabric, and it looks like an actual real mermaid tail.
Okay.
Proof.
Okay, so we were talking about it earlier. Should Southern Water design a new line of mermaid-inspired swimwear? Is that ethical? I mean, is it ethical? What do you guys think?
I think it's very ethical because it's going to raise awareness about mermaid health and the health of our waters, our rivers and our seas.
Okay, do you guys think that we should rebrand plastic in a way that people actually pay attention to it? Should we actually get mermaids to advertise, the protection of water, that kind of stuff? Are they a commodity? Mikey says that it's perfectly fine to sell the concept of mermaids. That's kind of cool. What do other people think?
I agree.
You agree? You would just shamelessly sell the concept of mermaids. But guys, we've been talking about lots of different things. We're talking about the plastic mountains, plastic islands. Maybe it is a way forward to be living on plastic, but it's actually up to you what we want to be talking about. Have you seen a mermaid, sir? No mermaids, not by the sea. Yes, it's Blake. No, Star. Blake.
I know where you can find a merman or a mermaid in the museum.
Okay, where is that museum?
Booth Museum.
Okay.
I've heard that Merlin Entertainment have got one hidden in a sea life centre somewhere. I don't know if it was Birmingham or Skegness, but I do know It's been hidden away from us. Or maybe there's a skeleton in a museum of a mermaid,
And why do you think they hide it?
so that everyone doesn't freak out, because there's a conception that we came from mermaids. We came from the water and we went back to land. Whales even have a tailbone that suggests that they had hips and they grew legs and then went back to water. So if whales did it, mermaids could have done it, and we're their descendants.
Okay, so do you feel like you are related to mermaids in some way?
Well, actually, I saw this TV program that said that whales actually evolved from sheep-like animals. So they started off as kind of water sheep, and then gradually became more and more aquatic, and then eventually,
Water sheep?
eventually became whales and
Have you
dolphins.
guys- I'm sorry, Mikey, but have you guys heard of a water sheep? And did you realise that you're related to mermaids? Do you feel like that's the case with you? Is it true of you? So
With my mummy.
that you're related to mermaids?
Yeah, because she told me that we come from the water and we learned how to walk when we came out of the water.
Okay, so the relationship seems to be there, but it's not common knowledge. People still need to have that kind of explained to them, and that kind of stuff. So we used to be mermaids. That is the conversation on the table. Do people agree? Hello, did you used to be a mermaid? You look like you could be very easily. Hello, come and join us for a conversation. We were talking about pollution. We were talking about, should we protect the oceans? Is there too much plastic? Maybe actually we don't care. Maybe no one cares about plastic anymore. We're so over it. Yeah, plastic is just everywhere. Matthew, you're gonna say something?
Yeah, I was going to say about people who do long, deep water diving. They hold their breath and their lungs go to the size of oranges, and they can still stay underwater for vast amounts of time. So as a human being in our evolved state, if we stayed underwater for that long, a mermaid can definitely be a concept, because even sea lions have to come up to air and they have tails that are, that are like mermaids. So maybe sea lions came from the same generation as mermaids, and humans came and we just split down the middle.
Okay, so maybe if we kind of practiced holding breath underwater for a little longer, maybe we could kind of easily revert back into being mermaids, and we'd appreciate the oceans a bit more. What's your view on mermaids, sir? You're kind of walking away, but I feel like you know something about mermaids. Have you ever seen one? Would you like to see one? Would you be scared? Okay. Hello, we've got a new face around the table. In fact, why don't I just ask everybody's names so everybody knows each other? We've got more people joining. Come and join us. We're just talking about mermaids and plastic waste and your views on that. So why don't you grab a seat and I'll just get everybody's names. So what's your name?
My name is Matthew.
Matthew.
Lauren.
Lauren, take a seat.
Farah.
Farah.
George.
George.
Grace.
Grace. Hello. Come and join us, sir. What's your name?
Jessica.
Jessica, beautifully.
Harla.
Mikey?
Blake.
Okay, and that's everyone. And we've got mysterious two men, maybe merman. I mean, have you ever considered being a merman? Maybe. So, guys, what we're talking about... well, you may consider it now, because apparently we are related to mermaids. What are your views on that? Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
How does that make you feel, though?
I don't know. I probably need to process that a little longer. I can't think how that makes me feel at all.
Okay. Has anybody here okay with being related to a mermaid? I mean, or are you like totally against it? You don't think it's possible?
I'm okay with it, and I knew before that we were related to mermaids, since mermaids are half human, half fish.
But could you like have a look at people and say like that person is definitely related to a mermaid and this person definitely not? I mean, can you tell? Is this man related to a mermaid? Are you part mermaid? She is. No way. We need to talk to her immediately.
I mean, there's got to be a reason why. I mean, look. Why do all human beings come to the sea? And we like swimming, we like all these watery things. There must be a reason for it. Why are we so water orientated?
They showed us in the film Moana that we are seafaring and we love the water. I think that was a secret message there, that we came from the water, but we didn't use boats. We literally swam and used probably little rafts. And maybe we could make rafts out of plastic bottles and go seafaring again like they do in Moana.
Okay, so maybe we could just kind of reconnect with our roots, which are water-based. It seems it's very possible, because why do people like water? Why do people like flock to the water so much? Do you know the answer, George?
Maybe because they need to cool themselves down after a hot day.
Cool themselves down, and did it? Yeah.
Because they don't really go on cold days like when it's winter. They don't jump into the sea because they're too cold.
Okay.
Some people do. Oh, sorry, my phone's ringing.
Okay. So apparently, some people, people come to the seaside because they need to cool down, but apparently people don't swim when it's cold. Is that true?
Well, last time I came to Brighton and went swimming, I got hypothermia because the water's so... Yeah, it was like the hottest day of the year, so I went swimming and I just got a little bit too cold.
In the sea?
In the sea, yeah, in the sea.
Okay, have you considered using plastic bottles just to kind of, just to warm up? Okay, well, you were saying something. Good.
What I need is a Southern Water branded swimsuit, yeah. I think that would made from recycled plastic bottles, for sure.
Okay, so there's this concept we were talking about earlier. Should Southern Water make a swimwear that kind of raises awareness of cleanliness of the sea and importance of not using plastic, actually recycling plastic to make some swimwear? Would you wear something like that?
If it looked good.
What do you think it should look like?
Normal swimwear.
Okay. Not mermaid inspired, nothing like that.
Well, I don't have any great aspirations to look like a mermaid, but I know lots of people do. There are these clubs you can go to now to be a mermaid.
Okay, have you guys heard of clubs where you go to be a mermaid? I mean, are you part mermaid?
You can have your kids' party as a mermaid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm disappointed to find out it's more of a kids thing. I think I would be a little bit I'd be a bit out of place. I would only really go to a mermaid club if there's people of my age going there, I think.
I've heard of a mermaid club for older people. It's a phase on YouTube. It's called Silly Salmon, and you have to say silly salmon, and your mate has to act like a fish and flapping around everywhere, jumping into water in odd places. I've seen it done back of McDonald's counters, fountains. So if you want to be a mermaid, maybe we could go from the aspect of the silly salmon challenge, and we could have an older theme club for that as well.
Okay, so Silly Salmon Challenge. Has anybody heard about this? Would you kind of join that club? Are you guys, would you like become a mermaid? Would you go to a mermaid party? Jessica? Maybe we'll come back to you. Mikey?
I think I would only become a mermaid or merman if it was like a temporary thing, because I think the mate, and you see this in a lot of mermaid films, is there's this kind of commitment that you need to have. Like the mermaid, if they want to become human, they have to discard their fishy things, or vice versa. If you want to become a mermaid, you have to say goodbye to land, and I'm not ready to do that.
Okay.
What was if becoming a merman though was basically wrong, like what we thought it was, and the top half of us became a fish and our legs remained?
Okay, so you think that the concept of mermaids and mermen is actually the reverse is true. So the real mermen are people with fish tops and human legs. Okay.
They couldn't have very been good gatherers with techniques of tools, because their fins had no opposable thumbs. So so they couldn't hold on to anything. So they'd have to use their mouths. But I mean, it might come wrong. I might be wrong. Might be right. But if I wanted to be a merman and I ended up fish first on the top half and still my legs, it's not going to be fun, is it, if I'm running around trying to breathe?
Okay, so it could not be fun, but the question is, like, do you have the level of commitment to actually like change your body shape in order to become something else?
I mean, that's the thing. I think we're a little bit too commitment phobic these days to actually commit to becoming mermaids or anything, or even like ecological campaigners, or to change our lifestyle in any way.
Okay.
I mean, I can't even commit to cycling, let alone
What prevents you
what from cycling?
from committing to cycling on a regular basis?
I think it's actually quite hard work. You end up carrying loads of stuff and sweating, and you know you got to wear heels and you got this, so it's just more of an inconvenience. So
Too complicated.
yeah, and then just the whole mermaid thing with no feet. I don't know, you know. I think and lack of commitment really.
Yeah.
I try it for a day, but that'll be about it.
So the question is, are we too scared of commitment? Are you like, are people just like generally scared of commitment? Guys, are you scared of commitment? Like, does that scare you? Commitment to cycle, commitment to whatever?
You need to be organised. So when I used to cycle to work, I had all my shoes, my office shoes at work, under my desk, and then I'd wear my cycling shoes. And when I got to work, all my work shoes would be there. Because you're right, it is hassle having to put your work clothes in your bag and get changed. But as long as you're organised, it's fine. But one thing I was thinking on the recycling side of things, my husband just said to me, I'm going to go and buy a bottle of water.
Whoa.
And why don't
Controversial.
Southern Water have more drinking taps? Like somewhere like this, where people have their reusable bottle with them, why aren't there more taps that we can use and just fill up our bottles?
I wonder about that. Do you agree?
Yeah, there's no profit in it, I guess.
Okay. Do we have any comments about that?
Yeah, so this summer Southern Water is going to be installing fountains from here and to the pier area as drinking tap water for free for people, and it's a pilot scheme, and if it works well here and people like it, we're going to roll it out across our whole network.
Good idea.
They used to have them years ago. Yeah.
Anywhere in Spain, every corner's got a drinking fountain that everyone uses.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think it's partly to do with, like, you know, maybe there's not much money in it, however it is, yeah?
So we used to have them loads in the UK, but they kind of got rid of them for kind of health reasons, just because of the bacteria, and people kind of at night time don't use them as fountains. So that's why they kind of declined in the UK. So yeah, well, no, don't stop using them, but that's exactly why we're piloting them, to find a way
talking
to kind
about
of keep
protecting
them
water
and trying to
and the
find
fountains.
metals that are kind of always sterile.
Oh,
So that's
1 second, just before we continue, Matthew is decided to bounce. Are you gonna go and have a splash in the water? Where are you going?
Maybe I'm thinking of just like trying to be a merman for the afternoon.
I think it's a splendid idea, but what is your final thought that you're gonna leave us with?
My final thought would be to everybody not to be a consumerist. Don't have love for these materialistic objects that you buy made of plastic, i.e. tablets, phones, your bank card, your razor blades for having a shave. Try and think of alternatives where you're not using plastic. And if you do have plastic and you don't want to make it a waste, use it as another alternative, like growing veg in the bottles, or using it as a greenhouse, or you know, so something different instead of just chucking it away, because every person who's chucking a bit of plastic away is adding to that mound and that wastage. And there is 60 million of us in this country, and there's billions of us in this world. So imagine, just for a thought, how much plastic that is that you could be saving just for yourself by making a little difference.
Okay, so be a little bit more thoughtful. Don't be too materialistic, and just don't be afraid to be ahead of a curve. Just explore different avenues for shaving, for instance. You don't need to use razor blades. Does anybody have an alternative to shaving, like feet? Okay. Is that eco-friendly? I don't know. What do people think?
You could use threads. Don't they use some kind of, I don't know what it is. It's called threading, where you can get rid of facial hair. I don't actually know how it works. I tend to use a metal razor.
Okay, what do people think about like the alternatives to shaving? Have you heard of this thread method Mike is talking about? Anybody heard of this?
I've heard of it on eyebrows. I think it might be a bit consuming in other, like time consuming in other places, but it takes a while.
Okay, but it is a viable option. So we could be talking about hair removal. We could be talking about hair removal. We could be talking about the fountains.
There's a wider point, which is the question about technology. You know, we've got all these environmental problems, like the plastic in the sea. Is the answer technology to save it? Earlier on, someone mentioned the robot that could pick up the plastic, or is it more about just us changing our ways? So that's really the question: is like, how do we actually get to a cleaner environment?
Okay, how do we get to the cleaner environment? I'm going to ask George because you had your hand up.
Nah.
Maybe I'll come back to you later, but when you feel a bit more braver. Jessica?
Could you reuse plastic bottles and recycle them?
I don't know, can you? Can you recycle bottles? Anybody can shed some light on this?
They don't, apparently.
Oh, by the way, what's your name?
Apparently they don't. They recycle the tops, and if they're saying recycled, that's all they're referring to. The actual bottles, they can't recycle them. They don't recycle them because it's too costly.
Okay, so do you think the money seems to be like the underlying issue, and can technology kind of aid, I don't know, the process of like, you know, how much we recycle? Can that be made less pricey or less cost?
Well, when it comes to the plastic bottles, I heard that the problem is there's just too many of them. So you could use a plastic bottle like this one to make a fleece, but it only takes 5 of these bottles to make a whole fleece. And then I've just come back from Norway, and in Norway they're thinking about banning fleeces anyway, because all the fluff from fleeces then goes into the sea and pollutes the sea anyway.
Oh, so it's like a vicious circle. So what's the alternative to that? I mean, like, has anybody got any ideas how to kind of, you know, what to do with the plastic in terms of, you know, how can we kind of take it out of the ecosystem maybe? Is it even possible at this stage?
One of the things that I get concerned about is toothbrushes, because they don't break down and they stay in landfill. But we've actually got some bamboo toothbrushes on the van if anyone would want a bamboo toothbrush and try it out.
Okay, I definitely want that.
They're biodegradable, so they just break down in the...
Okay, George.
Why bamboo toothbrushes when we're taking away from the plants? I know you're going to say bamboo and go very clearly, but how do we grow them?
Exactly, so why do we take away from bamboo and make a bamboo toothbrush out of it? Maybe bamboo is just like not okay with it.
Bamboo might not be okay with it, but one of the things bamboo does is it regrows itself, so you don't actually have to take away any areas for trees, because the bamboo will just regrow in the same place.
Okay, does that put your mind at ease, George?
What happens if it stops?
Yeah, when it...
Well, I mean, I think you mentioned the pandas as well, George. Are you worried about the pandas? And
we're taking away food from animals, and if it stops, we don't even know how to grow it. We don't know how to grow it. So how do we grow it? Anyone have a question for that?
Alistair, come again.
I wonder if they could eat the plastic.
One of the things that somebody was talking on the table about was... Go on.
We'll make a bag out of plastic and come to a street to buy some bamboo.
Well, that's an interesting point. Like, what will happen to animals when their food runs out? But also, somebody earlier was talking about bacteria. Apparently, somebody in Czech developed some bacteria that can break down plastic. So maybe that's the alternative. I mean, I don't know. What do people think? I mean, do you think it's ever possible to kind of make plastic into something that we use for to our benefit, as opposed to something that kind of holds us back? Everybody come and join us. This is a table of chat. This is Talkaoke. There is no agenda except that we're talking about plastic waste. Is there too much of it? We're talking about mermaids and mermen, and we've got a new man. Are you a merman or what are you? Are you just a man? Are you a man or are you a merman?
Yeah.
You're a man. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. What's your name? Actually, I'm going to just do another round of names. Guys, come and join us. We're just talking about many things, including plastic waste, and also are pandas running out of food? Can they eat plastic? Maybe they should. Maybe they should just stop being... No? What do you think? What's your name, by the way?
Rami.
Rami, so what do you think about this?
What do you think?
Do you think about pandas? What? Yeah. Do pandas should they develop into eating plastic? Because that would be better for the environment.
No, they're eating grass.
Okay. But what can we do with? Yeah.
I'm worried about cows.
Cows. Okay.
Eat the grass.
Okay. So there's gonna be some kind of like a competition between different species, kind of taking up eating up the plants and stuff. George, because you made a point about pandas earlier.
Because lots of animals eat grass, pandas will be because there's not much grass in time. Well, there is quite a lot. Well, they'll be trying. It will be cow because lots of animals like grass. And then if we take away the bamboo from the pandas because when you said a bamboo, giving them the grass, lots of people will compete to eat the grass.
Okay, so do you think the grass is like so so tasty that there's going to be a lot of competition over grass? This is like the disaster that we're kind of facing, people competing and animals competing over grass? Access.
Well, I mean, it happens already, and I think we do have too many cows. Because compared to pandas, which they're not many, there's like millions or billions of cows, if not a billion cows.
Do we need
and they're eating all the grass, and they're actually taking all the water, because that grass needs water to grow. So I think we got too many cows.
So can anybody shed some light on it? Like, by the way, welcome to the table of chat. What's your name?
Thank you. Melis.
Melis, I'm Margot, and this is
Lauren.
George, Grace, Jessica.
Alistair, we're doing our
Emma.
bit to get rid of cows, though, if we can. We're eating as many.
Emma.
Anna.
Mikey.
And I'm Margot. So you had a point about cows. So get rid, like, down with the cows.
No, not down with them. On the plate, in that sense, with them. I'm just saying we're doing all we can to lower the number of cows.
Okay, so do you agree that this may be, too many cows is just like detrimental to the environment? Is there some?
Cows is good.
Okay, what's the right amount of cows? Like, do you have any views on this?
We could lower it down to like the height, the pandas height, and so then there'll be an even number, so they would be able to eat the grass evenly, and that'll be done. So we'll eat as many cows, and then it'll go down to pandas and cows, so they both have half of the grass.
So George is making a really good point. Maybe we should just like even out the numbers so all the animals have even access to the grass. But Grace, you've got something to add.
Aren't we already like lowering the number of cows? Because some people are killing them to get some beef.
We're doing all we can.
Okay, so you saying people are already reducing their cows? Yes, Mikey?
Well, I mean, I'm sort of in favour of that, but I think every time you get rid of a cow, you shouldn't replace it with another cow. Like maybe with a panda instead, or a micro cow, as George was talking about, like a mini cow, just to minimise the amount of environmental impact. So yeah, for sure, eat the cows, but don't replace them with more cows.
Okay, so is replacing cows with like micro cows, is that the way forward, just to kind of keep the numbers down like all across the board? Do you have any views on this? I mean, if you were to replace cow with any other animal, what would be your animal of choice?
Parrot.
Parrot, interesting. Do you know if parrots are contributing to pollution of this world?
Not really. Are they?
I don't know.
Are they?
Their bird food probably comes in plastic. But I'll just say before I go, one thing that does bother me in supermarkets, the amount of plastic in the fruit and vegetable aisle. Our tomatoes come in a plastic dish, and you can't just go and pick up loose tomatoes. Everything is in a plastic container. And then I watch these old people, because it mainly is, I know, older than you, Dad, who get a plastic bag for each of their tomatoes, apples, onion. Every week they come and get 10 plastic bags for the fruit and veg, and I just think we should put more onus on the supermarkets to stop giving out the bags with the fruit and veg and stop packaging everything in plastic.
But how do you think we can incentivize the supermarkets and people in general to like reduce the packaging? Because we were talking about that earlier, but we don't seem to have a solution. Maybe it's in taxes, maybe it's in corporations. I mean, have you got any views on how to actually incentivize?
Government driven, it has to be, doesn't it?
How
Yeah,
so?
well, nobody's going to stop shopping there, are they? If it's cheaper, that's the issue.
I think old people like paper bags because it reminds them of the war and stuff like that. So if you just replace the plastic bags with paper bags, the old people will be probably more happy and they take less bags. I think.
Can you?
Yeah. Okay, so there are multiple uses for paper bags. Oh yeah.
And also, you can use newspapers instead of just paper, because they're just thrown out. So before they were using newspapers to make like bags and that you can put stuff like for when you shop.
Okay, so you can use like plain plastic bags to like do some writing on, or you can use the pre-written on newspapers and just kind of have a little read whilst you're eating.
I was just thinking, don't we feel like kind of gone slightly full circle on the, because back in the day, people were going, oh, I shouldn't be chopping down trees and, you know, using them for paper and, you know, thinking about the trees. And then so everyone started running to plastic and now going, oh no, that's bad for the environment. So you never quite know what the worst one is, like, because there's lots of carbon footprint associated with plastic and paper as well. It's just...
It's already there, so you're just recycling the newspaper, basically.
So is recycling a paper actually more eco-friendly way? Does anybody have...
Well, I'm a little bit annoyed by this carrier bag 5p charge, because I've been saving carrier bags forever. And now when I say I don't want a bag, people just think it's just because I want to save 5p. And I've lost that sense of like, oh, I'm, you know, environmental. You know, I'm, you know, so, and people just think I'm just being cheap now.
Okay. Are people like bothered by the 5p charge on the plastic bags? Does that mean that you're like a cheapskate, like George?
Why are we making plastic when people know it's not good for our things? So like we're not using plastic environmental friendly because we're throwing it everywhere, and that causes seagulls and birds to eat it. And
the merman.
How I like buy you chocolate mousse that comes in a plastic pot. How do you think then they would then? How would I buy your chocolate mousse in the plastic pot? What else could they put it in?
Paper bag.
Can the paper bag replace a plastic bag? What are your views, guys? Do you think it's necessary to use plastic to package everything? We're talking about tomatoes, we're talking about chocolate mousse.
I think you could present chocolate mousse on a leaf or something like that, a large leaf, like a sycamore leaf or a banana leaf or something like that. And you can have all sorts of packaging, leaf-based packaging rather than plastic packaging.
Okay, so as leaf-based packaging alternative to plastic. So guys, welcome to Table of Chat. This is Talkaoke. What are your names, by the way?
Johnny.
Janet.
That's easy to remember.
Melis.
Oh, Lauren.
A good question. George.
That was George, by the way.
Grace.
Alistair.
Emma.
Harla.
Mikey.
And I'm Margot, and this is Rick, just there taking pictures. So we're talking about the plastic waste, we're talking about protecting pandas and maybe replacing cows with pandas, because cows, turns out, they eat a lot of grass which uses up water and all that kind of stuff. So, and we were talking about the mermaids as well, and what are the alternatives to plastic? Do you have any ideas? Like in supermarkets, how can you replace plastic? What with?
Paper bags. Paper bags, yeah. Because paper can be recycled. And it's made out of a natural material, it doesn't have any toxins in it, and it can biodegrade.
Yeah.
And in the olden days, paper bags, well in America, if you go to a supermarket in America, you get your groceries in a brown paper bag.
Okay, so there is no difference whether things come in plastic or paper in terms of that, you know, you can use paper and you can carry your shopping, nothing bad is going to happen. But are you worried about like saving 5p?
Not that. It's about the pandas. Why don't we go to like this China club to like teach us how to grow panda food?
How to grow a panda? Does anybody know how to grow a panda? Oh, food for panda. Okay, right. Right. Yeah. Okay.
I actually had some bamboo growing in my garden, and it took over the whole garden, and it took me about like 3 days just to dig it all out and get rid of it. So I would caution anyone against trying to grow panda foods. If you do grow it in a pot, don't put it in the ground because it will just take over the whole garden.
What we did was we got 3 pandas and now it's all gone.
To eat it up.
Yeah.
Okay. How many pandas are there actually anyway? Because I think. Does anybody? You've got 3. Okay, so you've got 3. But yeah, so we were talking about like alternatives to plastic and also the plastic in water, and also can we? Because Southern Water was saying about putting up some water fountains along the seafront for people to kind of use them. I mean, do you use plastic or bottles for carrying water with you? Do you buy them? Do you have recycled ones?
I don't ever use plastic bottles.
What do you use?
I use a glass bottle.
And do you carry it with you?
Not usually, no.
Okay. Right. Do you have one? Is this glass? No, this is plastic. Okay, but that's okay. So yeah. So okay. So where do you want to take this conversation? Do we want to continue talking about pandas? Do you want to talk about alternatives to cows and water?
I don't think we should pander to popular opinion. Sorry, I had to do that. I mean, maybe we could look at some of the visualizations that Rick's done. Well, he's been trying to visualize the conversation. This is, I think, the Mermaid swimwear range.
Okay.
Southern Water branded. So is that right, Rick? Is that fair to say? So this is like, we've got like a plastic bottle, or is that a reusable bottle kind of wear? We've got a kind of plastic dress, and then we've got this kind of like merman trident look. This is, I think, is channeling the spirit of Neptune a little bit there. So that's quite a nice range of wear that Rick's designed from some of the conversation. Have you got any more visuals? Oh, not right. Okay, later.
Okay. Okay. So would you wear any of these outfits? Do you see yourself maybe, wearing one of them, the trident thing?
No.
No, why not?
I don't think it would suit me.
Okay, well maybe you could try it. Maybe there's a different fashion. Yes, Janet.
What about the mermaid walk?
What about it? Tell me.
Well, that costume could be worn by somebody on the mermaid walk. They do the parade here.
No, I don't know. You have to tell me. I'm not from Brighton.
Yeah, every year people dress up as mermaids and they walk along.
Okay, because somebody was earlier saying about mermaid parties and how you can be just like, you can just break into being a mermaid in any old circumstance. Apparently, at parties, but you're saying it's a legitimate thing. Has anybody ever been to a mermaid party?
Yeah.
No parade, yeah.
And I dressed not as a mermaid.
No. Did you dress up as anything?
A merman.
I was a sort of merman. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Okay. What do you make a costume out of then? Like how does that work? Fish.
Yeah.
Genuine fish.
The real thing.
Right. Biodegradable real fish costumes. Okay, Grace, you've got something. Yeah.
You could make the costume out of fabric.
Yeah. What kind of fabric?
I don't know.
Is there like a mermaid colour that people can use? Okay. So yes. So you can make your own mermaid outfit. I mean, maybe Southern Water can release a range of mermaid outfits, Mike.
Would it be a mermaid walk or would it be a mermaid paddle? I mean, I thought mermaids, the whole point of mermaids is they can't actually walk because they've got fish fish flippers.
Fish flippers.
They can be held up, can't they?
Fish tails.
Fish tail? Is it possible to like walk or like kind of move forward on fish tail?
You have to tell stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should go and have a look.
Tails.
Oh, tails. Yes. Okay. Tails, like as in stories. Yeah, I get it. I got there. Yeah, I got there in the end.
Could you kind of walk? Because the bits at the end, they go like that. You could move one forward and then the other.
Yeah. You could walk on this. Somebody earlier put a proposition that apparently mermaids, we've got it all wrong, that the mermaids actually are fish top and human bottom. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, that's more likely.
You think it's more feasible than the mermaids made it the other way? Okay, good. So where do we want to go with this conversation? We can carry on talking about the mermaids, obviously, and making mermaid costumes. And we can be, we're just talking about plastic waste and making plastic costumes imitating mermaids.
I mean, maybe we could, while we've got people around the table, maybe we could bring it on to something like we're here with Southern Water, so maybe we should talk about how mermaids, how do they go to the toilet? Because are they just peeing straight into the sea? And is that polluting the sea? Because
that's a very good point.
Because basically one of the things is we've got a water network here, and but are mermaids contravening? Well, it's too controversial, this subject, obviously, for Melis.
Obviously it divided the audience, but what is the final thought that you're gonna? Are you actually going? Is that what's happening?
Yes, I'm actually going, but I'm just wondering, I don't know, like this topic of mermaid, I don't know, in the sea, and the whatever, like the pollution. Is she contributing to the pollution of the sea, the mermaid?
Well, I don't know the answer to this, but maybe somebody else can shed a light on it. I mean, do you think that the mermaids are contributing to polluting the oceans? We will have no. Okay, that's controversial. Okay, let's hear. Maybe you'll get your answer now.
They don't actually exist, so they can't pollute the sea.
Sorry, what did you just say? You gotta say that again. I'm completely shocked. Do you think they exist?
I think Santa Claus and the mermaids, they hang out at Christmas.
Oh yeah, okay. And do you think the mermaids are responsible for polluting the oceans?
No, I think Santa Claus is more likely. He gives all the toys to the children made out of plastic, and then they throw them in the sea.
Oh God, no! This is true. This is like a band of polluters. The suspects being.
I'm wondering if Santa Claus should actually ban plastic toys, because plastic toys are actually a major pollutant. So I think someone needs to go and speak to Santa Claus and tell them no more plastic toys, especially Transformers, because all the bits fall off of those and go into the ocean.
Okay, controversial. What do we think?
No more polyester jumpers, because it's synthetic fibres produce more pollutants in the sea.
Okay, so we need to have a word with Santa Claus. Do go recede about plastic toys and the jumpers, Christmas jumpers. I mean, what's that about? Like, stop polluting. So what? Okay, goodbye. Are you going to go as well? I'm not obviously. Okay, before you go, you need to give us your final thoughts. You know the rules.
We should stop making plastic.
We should stop making plastic. How do we stop doing that? Exactly.
Quickly. No, quickly. No, how?
What method?
Come and sit down at the table.
You need. This is a very good question. Come and join us. You probably have some views that you want to share. How do we stop people from producing plastic? Please come and explain to us.
What I don't like.
Come and sit down. My hands are very, very small. I can't actually stretch out, and Alistair's going. Come and take a seat.
You can hear me anyway.
I can, but
It's going to get busy though if it gets.
No.
Okay, just before. Okay, take a seat. But before you go, guys, you get yourself comfortable. Give us your final thoughts that you're going to leave with.
If you wear a hat like that, you're going to think you might ban plastic. It's just not right, is it?
A hat.
We need stuff, sadly.
We need plastic, so there's no kind of going away.
We use it reasonably, don't we?
Okay, so it's about making most out of it.
That could choke.
Okay.
Chairs made out of.
Don't know, what are they made of?
They're fully plastic. I think they're ABS plastic. It's a type of plastic. It's a thermo-setting plastic.
It's a vintage plastic. Have you recycled it? Anyways, yeah.
Can we leave the subject plastic?
We can talk.
Go to robotic.
Okay, I'm happy to talk robotics.
Thank you.
Your final thoughts?
No, but I just asked George what he thought about the no plastic toys. So I said that'd be all his toys gone, and he was absolutely horrified look on his face. So, but I think it's right, and it's not just the actual toy. The problem actually is the packaging every year, because we keep the toys mostly, and you can recycle them. You know, they can still be played with. They come with so much plastic. If something could be done around the packaging, that would be a small step.
Okay, so reduce the play.
You wouldn't be able to live without plastic.
I agree. I think.
No, I know.
Explain to us. This is a very interesting point, because we were talking about like how to get rid of plastic, but you're saying actually shouldn't.
Pollution, yes. Plastic bags, yes. But plastic, no.
No, keep plastic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But why you said, I heard this, I think it's a joke. We have Toys R Us.
Yeah,
They're all made of plastic.
that's right.
So just imagining children with no plastics. I mean,
Is it a happy future? Children without plastic is gonna be like crying.
no chance. All the kids, if you tell them that, they'll kill you.
It's quite true. It could be quite controversial. We don't know how well that would go down with children, but yeah.
It would be no. It's plastic remain, exist, continue, coloring,
everything.
But do you think technology can help us, and like maybe robotics, or can help us like kind of reduce the
Recycling, brilliant idea.
Yeah.
It's brilliant because then gives you thinking more and moving in a futurist, and then all the people will say yes. But to end the ocean full with this, for sure. And the answer, of course, is going to take a long time.
Yeah.
Many years. So we are now we're changing it. So that's change.
So do you think that we are running out of time to kind of start recycling stuff? Should the robotics kind of encroach and kind of like, yeah, but can they, yeah, but are they doing enough? Are we utilizing robotics enough? Why do you think that is?
Because if you would watch the program today on Question Time, and they brought the subject up, and do you know, in a nice way, 10 million people will be redundant, will be out of jobs, 10 million in the next 10 years?
Hello?
It's completely different thinking.
Okay, so you're saying plastic, we are reliant economically on plastic and jobs as well. Come and join us. We're just talking about plastic, whether, you know, reducing plastic means losing jobs to people who are, for people who are employed in those industries.
Well, I mean, there is a thing about robots and jobs, but I think actually robots create more jobs because someone's got to make the robots. Earlier on, we were hearing about someone designing a robot to pick the plastic from the sea, and that's only going to create more jobs. So I think that it's kind of like you know, whenever you have a robot, you have another job. Come and sit down on the table. You're making me nervous standing up like that.
That's okay, you can stay for a little bit and then you can move on. This is what all we do in our lives anyway. But in the meantime, what's your name?
I have got no name, I only serve tea.
Okay, no name. I like that. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Annabelle.
Hey, Annabelle. So we were just talking, as you probably have gathered, a little bit about robotics and plastic, and no name is going, which is very disappointing, but I understand he's a rover. He needs to like, keep moving. And I kind of wondered, what are your thoughts on like plastic waste and stuff?
I think everyone should be given a reusable drinks container and food container, because I lived in Thailand in the 90s, and all the food stores, everything's put in plastic bags, and everything's like was thrown away then on the side of the road. So I always thought if every family, every child was given like a little metal mess tin, so instead of the food vendors putting it in a plastic bag which then went on the road, have it in your mess tin and have your disposable drinks container. I do think, I mean, I can see water bottles here. I do think we have moved on, particularly in supermarkets, training people, but I do agree there's too much plastic being produced. And I heard you talking about jobs and providing jobs, so it'd be a matter of people producing things that people can use that are reusable rather than being disposable, and changing people's mindsets. This person over there's got their hand up.
Okay, thank you. A lot of points there.
When I go to the Chinese, only my local Chinese, because they know me, I always take a bowl with me, so I don't get a plastic box that goes in. Like, I don't know why more people don't do that. When they go and get a takeaway, just take the plates and stuff with you rather than getting it in a box.
Should we do that a little bit more often? Just like carry our own plate when we go to get takeaway. Do you guys eat takeaway, by the way? Do you sometimes eat takeaway? And do you bring your own plates? No, yeah, exactly. Then you have to do your own washing up, which is a bit inconvenient. So you're saying about, you know, changing people's mindset just in general. It's not about, you know, that there is plastic waste and it will continue being so unless we ourselves change the mindset and bring our kind of, you know, kind of permanent like containers that last a long time. Yes.
Sometimes these days when you go to a restaurant and stuff, they serve it on like a little chopping board or something like that. Have you seen those little wooden boards? Maybe you can have one of those for pizzas. So when you go and get a pizza, it can be on like a wooden board that you've got yourself. I guess the worry is that you'll be carrying around so many different things, like a bowl, a board, a glass, a bottle, knives and forks, your own metal straw, and it will just go on and on. It might be quite a big kind of jingly bag full of reusable items.
So at the moment we're talking about, if people just used the same bowls and the same cups and bottles, would that just create too much baggage to carry with us?
I think the alternative to that is what we make things from, because if we still, realistically, there's still going to be a need for disposable eating items. So thinking about bamboo, things that grow really quickly, things that biodegrade, making our disposable items. So we've seen now that there's more wooden forks and more items that biodegrade in the takeaway disposable. So I think we've got to be realistic. There's going to be a need and a demand for disposable plates, cups, cutlery, but what we make them from, and producing those natural products and thinking about how we do that. And so the people who may lose jobs from the plastic industry, giving them the jobs in whatever we're using to phase it out with.
Okay, so it's just about replacing one type of industry with another, something that's a little bit more sustainable. Okay.
I saw these kind of well, they're not disposable, they're edible, like plates made out of potato starch, so you could just kind of eat the actual plate after you've... Yeah.
Are they calorific? Do we know? Oh, you're gonna go. Okay, I get it. But give us your final thought. What's your final thought? What is the flyer for, by the way?
It's my comedy show 7 till 8 last night tonight on Middle Street. Anna Belsky, professional breakup artist. My final thoughts are just everyone being mindful and taking personal responsibility and stopping and thinking about your impact.
Okay, so do you think comedy can help us, like raising awareness and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think there's been some academic research that you can actually change people's political perspectives by presenting it through comedy, because people don't think they're being dictated to. And they did a study on certain people's views was measured in some way, then they're exposed to different comedy with and without a political agenda, and they showed there was some sway from just having listened to a comedy sketch. So yeah, I think there's definitely...
Just before you go, because Southern Water is like trying to get the message out there about cleanliness of the water and kind of like raising people's awareness as to like how we use water and stuff. And do you have any tips as to how they could do it like, kind of more effectively? What kind of
Hire Annabelle to do a comedy sketch about it. Maybe we've got some material as well with the mermaids and the mermen, and that guy that wants a bit with the robot thing, and the pandas. We've got the material already. It just needs to be woven together into a comedy routine.
Annabelle?
Yeah, so if you'd like to invoice me for that, that'd be lovely. And I my part-time job is I work with children and getting children on board. They're very political, very aware. Getting them vlogging, getting them putting videos on YouTube, making raps, totally doable. So yeah, drop me the line.
Thank you, Annabelle. So maybe that will happen. Leave us your flyer, because this is like quite crucial. Thank you very much, Annabelle. So this is this is kind of the natural kind of conclusion of this first part. So I thought that was quite interesting conversations.
Well, luckily in the van I've got I've got a whole cutlery set and kitchen in there, so we don't have to use disposable food. Oh, we've got like a final thought. Go. Come and take part. We're about to finish, but we will start up again.
So you can just like rest your legs.
Yeah, rest your legs. Every single person makes us feel better it's an extra bit of audience. But what I've forgotten what I was going to say now. I was let's get some food, but let's try to not use any disposable.
And you've got some cutlery in your hand.
Well, we can improvise. Put it that way.
Okay, so we're just going to be like kind of wrapping this session, but I just kind of wondered, guys, wrapping it in an environmentally friendly and edible way is what we're going to be doing. But I just kind of wondered, guys, whether you had any views on, using disposable packaging. Would you ever consider carrying your own kind of utensils with you everywhere, so you don't have to use? Yeah, do you do it now even?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Can I just ask, because you're carrying a small child, what about disposable nappies? Because that, to me, like I've got a friend who's just had a child, and before they had the child, they were like, oh yeah, we can just use reusable nappies. But when it comes down to it, it's a lot easier just to use the disposable ones, and they ended up doing that, and they just like the whole kind of reusable thing went out the window.
Do you use reusable nappies or?
Disposable nappies.
It just makes life a little.
It does make life easier, unfortunately. It does make life easier.
Yeah.
I feel lazy, but yeah, it's much easier.
Okay. So maybe we can pick up.
Yeah.
You use the reusable ones. Okay, and how do you find? I mean, like, do you sometimes feel temptation to like, oh, just today I'll just use the disposable one. I don't care.
Time ago, disposables had just come out, really, so they were expensive. I bought Terry's and used Terry nappies, and once you get into it, it's easy enough.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of practice and just like, you know, popularizing the idea or kind of, you know, repopularizing, because like you're saying, that was popular back then.
I mean, with Talkaoke, we travel the highways and byways of the country, and I don't know if it's obviously not happened, but I met a guy that was trying to devise a disposable, reusable nappy that was somehow, it was like a sort of like industrial thing where the van would come and pick up all the nappies and like clean them and then bring them back, but it never seemed to. Yeah, like dry cleaners for nappies, exactly. Like a kind of Uber Eats for nappies. Do you know what I mean? Where you just pick them up straight. But it never took off, obviously, because people are still using the disposable ones.
Okay. Well, maybe we can put the word to the right a little bit later on once we had a little food break. But yeah, or maybe we could just like hunt something down and just kind of eat it with that. Anyway, thank you very much. So, okay, so this is Talkaoke. This is a pop-up talk show. We will be back very soon for some more conversations. So stay tuned. There's a man over there.
We've got this vision. Come and have a final thought if you want. Have you got any views on disposable nappies? No. Disposable anything? Should we be using? Anyway, we've got some. So this is robots cleaning up the planet.
That's Rosie from the Jetsons. This is the best.
That's what I thought the future would be like. This is what I thought the year 2000 would be like. Robots. I'm really disappointed, Mikey. I'm thoroughly disappointed. I thought robots would be sorting out everything for me, but they're not.
Maybe not in 2018, but maybe in 2023. Apparently, that's when the singularity is going to happen. Yeah. So just wait a bit longer.
Maybe one more year. All right.
Let's have a big round of applause for Margot.
Have a big round of applause to everybody around the table. Everybody around the table.
We will be back. We're just going to get some snacks. So if you want to say something, don't worry. It's not too late. There's no age limit. You can be as old as you want to be. I certainly am. Come and have a seat. Come and get involved in this. So this is Talkaoke. The great thing about Talkaoke is you can talk about really whatever you want to talk about. It's kind of up to you. So far today we've talked a lot about mermaids, actually, for some reason. Mermaids and mermen and merfolk. Which is a term, I think, for
the population of
mermaids, yeah. Anyway, so we talked about that. We talked about it all came from this thing about the mermaids dying and the plastic in the oceans and stuff like that. So there's a lot of talk about pollution and stuff like that. What's that? I'll come to you in a second. Let's just get some names first of all, because we need to know who we've got around the table. And let me make sure the devices are on. So my name's Mikey. What's your name?
Lois.
And?
Miari.
And?
Margot.
And what's your name?
Theodora.
What was it?
Theodora.
Theodora and?
Jenny.
And?
Roscoe Harris. Roscoe Bennett, Henderson Harris, Rocky Road.
Can I call you Roscoe? Yeah. Is that okay? Is that all right? Yeah, just about.
Tim.
And? Ian, and come and sit down, come and get involved in this. This is where it's happening, but we don't know what is happening. We don't know what people are going to want to talk about. Any ideas? What do you want to talk about?
We don't know if mermaids are real.
Mermaids are real.
You don't know if mermaids are real. What would you say? Anyone? Anything on this side? Real? Earlier on we had this discussion, are mermaids real? What's your name?
Oh, definitely. We met one last year, Mayari. I'm Janaea, her mum.
Yeah.
We met a mermaid last year, didn't we, on the beach?
Really?
Yeah.
Are mermaids having a tough time surviving with all the plastic in the oceans?
Yeah, I reckon.
Okay. I mean, they're real for now, but will they be real in the future? Any thoughts on this?
I think a big problem as well is global warming. The temperature in the seas are rising as well, and that's confusing for mermaids and merfolk generally.
What is a good temperature for a mermaid in the sea?
It's low. They would prefer a cooler temperature.
Okay, come and have a seat. we're back on the subject of mermaids. But what is a good sea temperature for a mermaid? What's your name again?
It's Tim.
Tim has been suggesting that perhaps the reason why we don't see any mermaids, Tim OC, has been suggesting that the reason why we don't have any mermaids around here is because the sea's got too warm because of global warming. Any thoughts about that?
I'm feeling pretty confident. Scientists are developing wonderful new technologies that are going to clear the seas of plastic. There's this fabulous sort of sieve that pulls in things from the top. You've got something to say, have you, Roscoe? And they're planting loads of trees. I'm feeling pretty confident that we're going to survive the plastic apocalypse.
Are you confident that we're going to survive the plastic apocalypse, Roscoe?
No idea. I don't even know what it means.
You don't know what it means. What does it mean? What does it mean, a plastic apocalypse?
Where there's so much plastic that the fish don't survive and that we become poisoned by the food we're eating. I think we've turned a corner, and I think that the technology and the will is there, and that we're on a good path towards a healthy world again.
Okay, so that's the question. Is the plastic in the sea going to be a big problem, or are we going to solve the problem of the plastic in the sea?
I used to like cold water.
Whoops, excuse me, hang on. Let me just turn it down. Oh, this one, yeah.
I like cold water, but now I like hot water because I normally get too cold.
So you're a bit different from a mermaid in that respect, that you prefer the warmer water. Okay, so plastic, too much plastic in the sea. Is it killing the... But you prefer warm water as well? Okay. So most of the people around the table prefer the warm water. Is it such a bad thing that the seas...
I love warm water.
You like warm water too? Is it such a bad thing that the water's getting warm? It might be bad for mermaids, but what about humans?
Because the ice is melting.
Yeah.
At the poles. And that'll flood a lot of the low-lying lands.
Okay, so...
In Bangladesh and places like that.
Okay, so ice is melting and the water is going into the sea, filling up the sea too deep. Are you worried about this, Roscoe?
No.
You're not that worried about it, okay. We didn't get your name, what's your name?
Hala.
Hala, are you worried about this? Are you worried about either the sea getting warmer or the...
I'm worried about the ice caps melting and all the kind of flooding, and that doesn't sound too good for the environment.
Do you agree with Tim that the world is getting warmer?
The world, I think it is. Yeah.
How do you know?
I think it is. I don't know. Although having said that, I think it used to be hotter when I was a kid.
Really?
But I don't know if I was more optimistic when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, what do other people think? Was the world warmer when you were younger or colder?
Rocks are normally sharp.
Yeah. Is that a problem? Is that okay?
Normally trip on them and then hurt your leg.
Is that a danger to the mermaids?
There could be stones underneath the water.
Okay, so are there actually smooth rocks for mermaids to live on? Maybe that's why we don't see many mermaids around here, because of the rough,
I have seen a merman actually in Seaford.
Yeah.
Or was it Saltdean? I think it was Saltdean on the groins there. They do like to bask and to sunbathe on the groins in Saltdean.
Is that a smooth groin or is that a rough groin?
Well, the groin itself is quite smooth, but then there are more sort of rough-hewn boulders that they can climb up to.
Do you agree with this idea that it might be the sharpness of the rocks that's deterring the mermaids?
No, I don't know.
No, you think they're ready to cope with it?
I think they're,
Roscoe? I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, so there's a few subjects on the table. There's the ice caps melting. Are mermaids real? Do we see the mermaids or mermen? There's this question about the sea temperature. Is it better for the sea to be warm? It seems that most people feel like the sea is better warm. You agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have warm sea and no mermaids and mermen?
Warm sea and no mermaids and no men, because I don't even believe in them.
You don't believe in them, so you don't really care about that.
we'd get really exciting creatures if we had warmer seas. We'd get crocodiles
Yeah.
and sharks and more colourful fish. So we would just evolve with the change of the temperature. The Earth has been evolving for millennia. We'll just adapt
Okay,
to
so
it.
we can adapt. You seem to be a great believer in adaptation.
I think that is an incredibly complacent, short-termist view.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let me come to. No, it's not been opened yet. Have you got a view on this? Are you worried about either the sea level rising or the sharpness of the rocks endangering mermaids?
More the sea level rising than the sharpness of the rocks,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Are you worried about it? What do you think? Is it going to have an effect here in Brighton, sea level rise?
Yeah, well, I'm sure it would. Yeah, we don't really, there's a massive rock somewhere, isn't there, that if it hits the sea, it's all going to splash up everywhere.
Okay, so there's a giant rock that could
Somewhere,
potentially
isn't there? Was it somewhere?
submerge us. Does anyone know about this giant rock? No? You know about the giant rock?
I think it's somewhere in Africa or something like that. And it was like, and
Yeah.
when it falls, it's going to send out massive waves everywhere, and it could actually hit here too. I read about it once. I'm sure
Okay.
it'll be fine. Sure it'll be fine.
Okay, so all right, give us a final thought. Final thought. Hang on, let me just turn it. Yep.
I forgot.
I'll come back to you in a second. Final thought.
I like cold water instead
You like
of
cold
hot
water? Do you think we're better off having cold water for the fish and mermaids? Okay, so there's a vote there for the cold water, which means we've got to do something about this if we want to keep the water cold. Final thought.
I haven't seen a merman. I only saw a mermaid,
You saw a mermaid.
but not a merman.
You haven't seen a mermaid. Okay, so you've seen a merman, but you've only seen a mermaid. Okay. Come and take a seat. We're talking. Oh, you're part of this crew, but you haven't given us a comment. So give us a comment, a final thought, and an initial thought as well. What's your view on this? Hotter or colder water? Are we going to ever see the merfolk?
Well, the thing about hotter sea, I guess it depends where it is. If it's near ice capsules, then everything's going to melt. So that's not good. So it depends on where. I guess you want warmer temperate water for the fish that need to live in warm water, but then.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you.
I'm literally stealing half your audience.
Okay, well no. Well, you're going to see what?
There's a ninja martial arts dance thing happening over there at 3. No to cows.
That was from a previous conversation. What I should say and forgot to say, because everything happened so fast, is we've got Rick here that's visualising the conversation as we go on, and this is from a previous conversation where somebody around the table was saying that they should get rid of cows because they take up so much water. For a pint of milk, you need something like 50 pints of water. So,
as somebody who's breastfed for a number of years, you need to drink milk to make milk. We need cows. Put that in a picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need to drink milk to make milk.
You need to drink milk to make milk.
Rick can adapt the. Can we have like another campaign on the other side saying yes to cows and a whole load of breastfeeding mothers supporting the cows, so we've got a balance view, because we do need balance. Okay.
Cow pain
It could be a cow pain
to promote milk.
Okay. Let's get some final thoughts though before you go from everybody. Roscoe, have you got a final thought?
I eat cows.
You eat cows.
You eat cows. Okay.
Yeah, that's
All right.
Cows.
Final thought.
Cows or mermaids?
Nothing.
I don't know. Doesn't it?
Hang on, Roscoe. You've had your final thought now.
Doesn't it all exist for us? Doesn't it depend on what we want? If we want the cows, we are the apex predator.
It's down to our choosing what we
have
decide.
risen to the top of the food chain.
Okay.
Let's just organise the planet for our needs and our desires now.
Okay.
That's my final thought.
Okay, Theodora, have you got a final thought?
Why no mermaid number cold, no mermaid number warm sea.
Why do mermaids not like warm sea?
I mean, I've got statistics which shows that the sightings of merfolk in southeast England is much higher than in the Bahamas.
Right. Okay. So there is a thing about sea temperature and merfolk, mermaid. Come and sit down. Come and get involved in this. Come and have a seat. Come on, all of you. Don't be shy. Ian, we didn't get a final thought from you.
No more.
Okay. We got a new face at the table. What's your name?
Josh.
Josh, welcome. Come and sit down. Come and get involved in this. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Come and have a seat. Come and get involved in this. I think we've got some people. Okay. Do we need to encourage this person? Come and have a seat. You don't have to say anything, but it makes it all look more busy and popular. Let's have a round of applause. Eric. Okay. Welcome. And we've got potentially these people are going to come and sit down once they finish dishing out their booze in plastic cups. Come and sit down. Come and get involved in this. Well, we were talking about ocean level rising. Do mermaids prefer lower temperatures, lower sea temperatures, or warmer sea temperatures? Are we worried about the ice caps melting? These are some of the questions on the table at the moment. We've got Harla. We've got Margot. We've got Josh. Is it Eric?
Yep.
And my name's Mikey. Come and get involved in this. Come and have a seat on the table of chat.
What is it?
This is Talkaoke. It's a pop-up talk show where we are. I mean, what's that?
What do you broadcast on?
We're kind of more on an internet sort of thing, really. And we're here with Southern Waters. There is a kind of watery sort of feel to the thing as well. But in a way, it's up to you. It's up to you to decide what you want to talk about, really.
I just want to. Something the lady said before leaving. She said, "Oh, we should design a world to kind of to fit our desires because we're like the apex of the food chain or something like that." Something like that. Hasn't that been like abolished as not true? That we all kind of like ecosystem. You know, we are on the same level as cows, as other things.
Well, I mean, how do you feel about it? Do you feel like you're on the same level as a cow?
Yeah. Yeah, I do because in some sense. Okay, well, so we can like use our brains. We can like make stuff happen. Like we don't have hoofs, so we can like type on a computer, whatever. But
you don't have what?
We don't have hooves.
Oh, hooves. I thought you said we don't. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, we've got those like advantages of being human, being able to do like more kind of thinking processes, like inventing robots and stuff. But I think essentially when it comes to the planet, it doesn't really matter like who occupies it as long as they're living beings. I think we're all kind of more level, I would say.
Is there a food chain? Is there a food? Are we at the top of the food chain? Is there a hierarchy? Is there a pyramid, or are we all the same one universe?
If cows had the same intelligence as us, they'd have designed computers to fit their needs.
So it's down to the cows for being stupid, really.
Cows just need to like up the game, basically.
Yeah. So cows have kind of got it coming to them because they don't know how to design. We've got a new face to the table. You need to move on, get a groove on with your hoove on. Okay, so we got Eric, we got Josh. What's your name?
Kieran.
And we got Margot and Harla. And what's your name?
Emma.
And we're welcome on Mikey. So at the moment we're talking about this. In a way, it's how we see nature. Do we see ourselves as the boss of nature? Is it cows' fault that they don't know how to run technology? So then they've got it coming to them. Come and get involved. Come and get involved. Come and have a seat. Have a seat. We have got Emma, we've got Harla, we've got Margot, we've got Kieran, we've got Josh and Eric and Mikey. Come and sit down. 2 minutes. Don't be shy. We're only here in Brighton for one day. I'm going to bring my tin of Heineken to the other side so it doesn't get confused with your ones. So what's your names?
Andrew.
And
Aaron.
And
Connor.
Connor, welcome. At the moment we're talking about, it's a kind of environmental thing. It's come up. Do you feel that human beings are like the boss of the world, or are we just kind of all one? Should we be seeing ourselves as, I guess in the biblical sense, having dominion over the other animals, or?
Well, these words are too big for my understanding.
Okay, so all right. Can someone like shorten the words a little bit here?
Because there was a lady here who said that we should design the world in a way that kind of serves us as humans, because we're at the top of the food chain and stuff. But I'm kind of wondering whether we just happen to be a little bit more intelligent than the animals, but essentially we're all using the planet in the same way, so we're like on the same level in a way.
Are we ruling the planet, or are we like?
I think we're ruling the planet.
Yeah.
We control the planet.
Yeah.
We've changed everything completely, haven't we?
Yeah.
If we weren't here, it would be a totally different place.
What would the world be like if there were no humans? What would this beach look like? I guess it wouldn't be the I-360 and the rest of it, but would there be anything at all here?
Cows going up in the I-360.
Would the cows take over instead and be running things? I don't know. What do you think? Any Connor?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
No. I mean, have you ever thought what the world would be like if there were no humans?
Full of trees.
Full of trees, maybe, yeah.
It would be how it was before humans evolved intelligence.
Yeah. I mean, what would that look like?
Well, no buildings.
Yeah.
Or streets or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay, let me get a final thought from you.
Their imagination, have we?
Well, maybe we have, and maybe that's the. Maybe that's the powerful. Give us a final thought before you go.
A thought on what?
What? I don't know. I mean, are you worried about global warming? Are you worried about?
Nah, 'cause I like warm weather, so more global warming the better for me.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. But
Connor, final thought?
No, I haven't got anything.
Are you worried about sea levels rising?
Not really. No.
Okay. Are you worried about these?
Cheers. Thank you. Cheers.
Are you worried about sea levels rising? Are you worried about global warming?
Where do we get the Heineken from?
Oh, well, we got our ones from the Sainsbury's just up the road there. And it's not a giveaway, no. No, the only thing that's been given away here is the chats and the free visualizations of...
You know how Southern Water is going to install little water dispensers along the seafront? Maybe there could be for the weekends only, turn into a beer dispenser.
Give us a final thought.
It'll all be all right in the end.
Okay. Would you like to see a beer dispenser out here on the seafront? Would that work?
Yeah, I think that could work.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, council-run beer dispenser. I think that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
No, for the homeless and people that can't afford to go to bars or can't get into them.
Would you like to see a beer dispenser on the seafront? Yes. See, it's a very popular idea. Okay.
Now they're interested.
Yeah.
when it was big to dispensers,
No, because you know what they used to say, what they used to say that back in the day, talking a long time ago, it was healthier and cleaner to drink beer as opposed to water. So I mean, I don't know. Can you wash in beer? Probably
earlier
could.
on, we were talking about: is there fluoride? Is there chlorine?
Hello. How you doing, Nick? Yeah, you're right. I just said hello. Yeah. We're in a rush. We've done this before. Yeah.
Well, just give us an opinion on this. Should should Southern Water have a beer dispenser on the
everywhere?
And should there actually be alcohol in the water? And would that make Southern Water more popular as a company?
Yeah, I think so.
Just not a lot. 1 or 2% alcohol, not that much. Would that work? Do you think rather than having chlorine in the water as a antiseptic, could you have alcohol?
I think that could work really well because if you drink a lot of alcohol, then you get hangover and you kind of get dehydrated. And I think if you've got a minimal amount of alcohol in water, then you drink alcohol, you get a bit
hydrate
and you hydrate at the same time. So it's a win-win all around, I think.
Could it work?
I'm pretty sure you get beer spas as well, where you bathe in the beer. So basically, we'd just be giving people free spa treatments.
Yeah, but also beer is very good for the hair. If you can make you can put beer on your hair and it really nourishes it.
Yeah.
And raw eggs as well.
Is there enough alcohol in the water supply? That's what we're asking at the moment. It seems to be a more pressing question than ocean levels rising or sea temperature. What about the beer in the water?
I'd go for gin. Gin in the water. That's what we need.
Cry.
Really?
Okay. Okay, we can go down that list. This is Talkaoke. We can go in any direction we want. We could find out why gin makes Margot cry, or we could discuss this bit, or maybe we could just rewind back to the environmental conversation. It's kind of up to you what you want to talk about, really.
Gin making you cry. Yeah, I've been in a group of people that everyone started crying when they drank.
Really?
We all ordered loads of gin, and then next thing everyone was telling stories about like things that had upset them, and people started crying. And it was really interesting because I thought this is the gin. There's something in it, isn't there, that makes people what they call maudlin, as makes you kind of reflect.
Okay. Is anyone else? Anyone?
That's that. I don't know that. I'm just saying that's the idea. That's the theory. Yeah.
Gin's never made me cry, but tequila makes me forget.
Really? How do you know that? So you just wake up and there's an empty tequila bottle and you're like, what actually happens? We're talking about should there be alcohol in the water supply? Would it solve many problems at once? Any thoughts on that?
So why does different drinks make you behave different ways? So but tequila makes people really wild, doesn't it? Well, yeah, believe me, that I can be witness to. Gin does seem to sort of affect some people in a sort of tearful, but not necessarily bad way. It's kind of quite cathartic. Beer makes people. They say that certain types of beer,
does gin make you cry? Oh, come and have a sip.
Does lager make you into a lout?
Does lager make you leery?
Leery. Which lager makes you leery?
Kronenberg. Okay. What's your name?
Dave.
Dave. We've got Kieran. We've got Margot. We've got Harla. I'm Mikey. At the moment, there's a few different subjects. There's come and join in. There's ocean level rising. There's should we put alcohol in the water supply, and this question about gin. Gin makes Margot cry.
So does rum. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. No. But beer doesn't make me cry. But like you were saying, maybe there are some substances in specific alcohols that kind of create, certain reaction. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a chemist, but it wouldn't surprise me if certain alcohols kind of released certain emotions. Like tequila makes this lady. No. Yeah.
What's your experience of lager? Because you said that Carlsberg, mate.
Kronenberg.
Kronenberg.
I just think that if you're drinking kind of strong 5-6% lager, it turns you into a bit of a wally after about 5 pints. Where if you're drinking a 3.5% kind of decent pale ale, it doesn't turn.
So you're more of a pale ale drinker?
I'm more of a pale ale kind of.
Okay. What is the thing about pale ale? Because I've never really got it.
I've never really liked lager. I used to drink it because that's all you got in pubs, and now you can get a decent pint of beer any pub ever, and it's kind of like the whole change of.
What makes a decent pint of beer, would you say?
Just a pub with good taps and a good brewery.
Right.
You get some John Smith's is a terrible pint of beer, but any Harvey's, any Longman or any Gun Brewery, all of those are really good brewery. Obviously, the whole punk IPA stuff gets a bit much, really, but.
Okay, so we are.
I think some of those beers that you like are quite strong. I don't think it's the alcohol level necessarily.
Harvey's is 4%, and kind of like Gun Brewery 3.9% for the extra pale.
Is it just about the alcohol? And the other thing to me as well, I think might be interesting, is this idea that we, as a nation, we're sort of rejecting things that just don't taste as good, whereas before maybe. Yeah, before we just drank whatever, as you're saying.
I still think we drink whatever, quite frankly. On a Friday night, you go out to any kind of nightclub around here, they can sell any old shit, and people will lap it up.
Yeah.
People don't care.
So
I would rather not have a drink than drink something that's terrible.
Okay. I mean, where would you draw the line? What is like a just about acceptable drink? What's the lowest you're going to stoop?
I would probably drink a cold can of Red Stripe.
Okay,
if it was
Red
really
Stripe,
cold
as far as you're going to go.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got a new face at the table. What's your name?
Helena.
Helena, we've got Harla, we've got Margot, we've got Kieran. What's your name again? Sorry?
Dave.
Dave, and I'm Mikey. At the moment, there's a few subjects. It's mostly a booze-related conversation. Are you a drinker?
Only moderate drinker, social drinker.
I mean, is it more important what the drink tastes like or the alcohol content?
The calories are quite important.
Calories.
Well.
Okay.
Don't you think that they should put the calorie account on the can so you know? Because some have got a lot more than others, but we don't know because they won't tell us. Well, there's no ingredients on there. I mean, I don't know what that's made from. You know, that's it. I think it's time the alcohol industry got pulled into line, because it's kind of, you know, it has to do what it wants, isn't it?
Okay, so the calorie count, I mean, whoops, what was that?
That might be my dog.
Oh. I mean, what about the calories in water? Because you're from Southern Water. Should they put the amount of calories in water?
I can confirm that it's zero. So drink water if you want to lose weight.
Okay, so it's a good diet drink.
It's a great diet drink.
Okay.
Great for hydration as well.
Okay.
What I would like to, you know, what I would welcome in my tap is alongside just like a regular water, a sparkling water. It's exactly the same, but just like fizzy. Because, you know, it's essentially the same taste, but it kind of gives it just this little extra. It's just more. I don't know.
Yeah, you like fizzy water as well?
Much more refreshing, yes.
Yeah, I mean, could it...
So I was going to say, you can get taps that carbonate, so instead of... So you can get, like, you know those taps that do hot and cold?
Yeah.
You can get taps that do carbonated water if you really want. So yeah, much better for you than the bottled stuff, because it's got no plastic in it. So.
Okay, so you can actually get a fizzy water tap. Is that something you'd get, Dave?
No. Water, I love water. I drink water, loads of water every day.
Yeah.
A cold pint of water is probably the best thing.
Yeah. Is it better than a pint of Stella?
Yeah, without doubt. It's better than a pint of anything. You cannot beat a really cold pint of water when you're really thirsty.
But you wouldn't go for a fizzy water on the tap?
I just think it's unnecessary. I occasionally want to have fizzy water if I'm in a pub and I'm having a lime and soda because it's on tap.
Yeah.
But it's just a waste of plastic. That's what annoys me. I will take my bottle around, fill it up with water.
Yeah, but they're talking about this little tap you can get in your kitchen which makes it go fizzy, but
that I would have one just because people might use it and
just in case you're entertaining kind of thing.
Yeah, and
you would
useful.
Would you like still or sparkling? It's out of the tap.
It's there and it's through.
Still or sparkling? I love a sparkling water, man. Someone's angry about sparkling water. I think it's got issues with carbonation.
Upset by sparkling water in childhood.
Yeah, something obviously happened with sparkling water, and I think it was worse than the gin incident by the sounds of it.
I have a feeling there's many subjects that get that person going, but anyway.
Okay, so where are we going to go with this conversation? Maybe this person's the answer. Yes, you, behind the flag. Are you the answer? Because okay, well, sit on this side next to Helena, and then you can keep an eye and chat at the same time. Okay, did you just say he's just done a backflip? I don't know, anyway, let's just carry on with the conversation, not get distracted by passers-by. Where do we want to take this conversation? Do we want to talk about fizzy water in taps, beer in taps? Do we want to talk... Helena, what would you like to talk about? I'm
open to flavoured beer in taps. That would be nice.
Okay, flavoured. What particular flavour do you like?
Cherry, strawberry, all the flavours that the Belgians have would go down a treat.
I mean, what about flavoured water?
I would say you've got a sweet tooth. Is that right? Yeah, because they're very sweet. Those beers. I find them really too much. But I mean, no. But do you think that different types of alcohol affect people? So if people are drinking rum, they behave one way. If they're drinking gin, they behave a different way. Just because you look like you might have, gone to a few parties and sort of observed this, or anyone else?
I mean, what I'm going to do, we've got a technique we call turning the mirror, because I feel that you...
Oh, I've definitely had personal experience of alcohol making you behave differently, depending on what you're drinking, not the amount.
Yeah, so what alcohol would you avoid drinking?
Tequila.
Yeah.
And even worse, what's the one with the hallucinogenic in it? The other one, it's French one. Come on.
Absinthe.
Absinthe.
Yeah. So you would avoid those because you're saying...
Well, I had two of those, and then I just found myself in a nightclub chatting to some people.
Yeah.
And I'd actually gone to an art gallery with two friends, and I was like, where is everybody and who are these people I'm with? Right. I had no recollection of about an hour of how I'd got there.
Yeah. Anyone else tried absinthe?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think?
It may be slightly loopy, but I drunk quite a lot beforehand, so it's kind of like the tequila thing. Tequila makes me fall over, but that's probably because I've drunk loads beforehand, and then I do a tequila shot. I think doing any shot at that point is probably going to make me fall over.
So that the only time you consider drinking tequila is once you've had a whole load of other drinks.
Yeah, I haven't drunk tequila for about 10 years.
Yeah,
but then I haven't fallen over drunk for about 10 years. So.
Okay, well done. That's something that deserves a round of applause. Have we got an alcohol problem in this country? What do people think? Do we have an alcohol problem?
I had somebody recently starting my job, and they and one of the first things that they did was have a staff party. So he took our team out for drinks, and then he says oh, that's interesting, we've never had that before. And he said because he's not from the UK. He was like, I've just figured out that in order to get on with British people, you need to drink a lot of alcohol with them. I was like, oh, I'd never thought of this, but I don't know. And that's an observation of somebody from the outside.
So it's a kind of essential for bonding.
Kind of like getting for bonding, exactly. It's like an essential bonding tool, getting drunk with people.
So we actually need the booze to actually get to know each other.
I think the problem is bad food. So I think that people look at the continent and they go, oh, the French and the Italians, they can have, a meal and they do it really well and they don't get drunk. I think the problem is their food's really good, so you wanna enjoy the experience, whereas British food is pretty it's pretty grim at best, or just pretty bland, so people just want to get it over and done with and get straight to the alcohol. So I think it's a food problem that we've got more than a drink problem.
Or the British way is just to avoid the food, isn't it? Just go straight down the pub after work on a Friday evening, and then you're lucky if you get a bag of crisps, and on the way home you get a kebab which ends up sort of in your face asleep. So I mean, it's a terrible culture, really, isn't it? Give me the Italian culture any day where you actually do eat good food and drink at the same time.
No one ever falls. Give us a final thought.
I think the French and the Italians do it better because they have got better food and they've got a whole culture where they actually eat and drink at the same time.
Okay.
And they got better booze as well.
Okay.
Quite frankly.
They just sell us
Yeah, they do, indeed. You go to France, you get amazing wine, very cheap.
Okay, so we've not so much got an alcohol problem, but maybe it's a taste problem. I don't know. Maybe
problem.
Is it our culture? Is our culture broken?
I don't think we actually are very good as a nation of sitting down and eating together. I think we're awkward, and I think it's partly because that the only time when really we have to sort of sit down and deal with each other is around a meal, and in most cultures they've really worked on that, so it's a long thing, and they're fine with it. And I think because we've lost that, we probably lost it during the war, because everything that happened during the war, didn't it? We lost everything, and we never recovered it. And now we're kind of stuck with this thing where we can only really look at each other when we're in a bar with music playing. And I suppose Talkaoke is addressing that slightly. There's a little bit of alcohol here, but you know, not a lot.
Not enough, probably.
But I think maybe the part of the reason why people drink is like to kind of cover up the awkwardness, just like in general, because like being face to face with a human being is really risky. You know, you worry what you're gonna say, what you're gonna like come across as, and you know, it's very risky. Whereas once you've had some drinks, you're like, you don't care, like you just say anything. But I think it helps because like very often I'd find myself in a situation I'm completely sober, but I'm feeling a bit nervous, and I just say something like either like I'll get it completely wrong in English, or I just say something that is like mildly offensive or something. Or like just a bit, you know, just
so
a bit like you wouldn't say.
It's about
and I think alcohol helps with, you know, not getting into that situation.
It's about overcoming awkwardness, then, in a way.
Well, do you think the British culture, as a Polish person from outside, you can give us a view on this? Are they a bit touchy? Are they easy to offend, the English or the British?
Are they a bit sensitive? Like when you say something, they get.
No, I don't think it's a problem of this nation in particular. I think it's just a problem with just like you know, social interaction in the first place. You know, I think in Britain, what I've learned, like the standards of conversations can be very high very quickly. In Poland, you kind of spend a long time like warming people up to, you know, like having.
What do you start off with then? What's the sort of like warm up kind of?
You kind of say how bad everything is. I think it's like, so how's it going? Oh, it's a bit shit, but what can you do? Yeah, well, you know, and then you kind of like build it and build the I don't know, the momentum of shitness until
So it's about kind of in a way a collective complaining to sort of bond together, and then once.
Yeah, you definitely bond over complaining a lot of the times, and also in Poland, I don't find like at home, I don't think we do much small talk anyway. It's more like I've cooked this. This is nice. Anyway, it's just like you talk about like current things. You don't really talk about the past. You don't really explore things. You don't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
so
it's a class thing
people
as well.
explore things more in the UK.
Yeah, to my experience, but maybe it's just the people that I've got around.
But only once I've had a few drinks.
I was going to say, maybe it's a reflection of this table, hanging out at this table too much.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we.
People are very deep and
Yeah. Maybe you've been hanging around too. Yeah. I mean, these Andrew and Thingy and Connor, when we talked to them about the ocean levels rising. And a man having dominion over the beast. They were a little bit perplexed.
It didn't feel like that was a familiar conversation, did it?
Yeah, no. I think we took them askance a little bit. I should have gone in with something else, perhaps.
Do you want to swap out?
Do you want to have a go? All right, okay. So now's the moment. I was hoping to like build up a bit more of a crowd, so that just to make it.
You build them up, and I'll.
Yeah, knock them down.
Might as well go for it now.
Go for it. Yeah, no, it's a good moment in a way. Maybe these. Are you going to come and get involved in this? This is Talkaoke. We're just about to start a new discussion. What have you got to say? What are the big subjects? Okay, but in the meantime, let's have a big round of applause for Hala. She's going in the middle. Whoops. We've got to put the brake on the Talkaoke table. There we go. The brake is on. I need a brake. There we go. Brakes are on. So you're good. Try that again. That was an excellent entry. Perfect movement.
That wasn't going to work, Mikey.
Okay, and let me give you this microphone.
I knew that. I was sceptical of that from the word go.
No, the crossing into the centre of the table was always nerve-wracking, but in the end it works out fine. Like somebody said, we're going to be okay in the end.